Good morning. Now I've already done the jacket mold for the like the rear plate, the hips, and the I guess you could probably call them the obliques of the Guyver. Now this is 40 ounces of silicone latex, 2 coats, and I'm going to do a mother mold out of plaster, which is going to, once it's done, it's going to separate all the plates, this side, that side, the 2 hips, and the rear plate. I've already pre-mixed my plaster. I've already got my burlap strips cut, so I'm just going to go ahead and start on that. Some like this, because it's a vertical surface, you're probably going to want something a little thicker than normal, because you've already taken care of the detail with the jacket mold, so there's really no need to have a lot of attention to that kind of thing right now. And if it's less runny, it'll have less of a tendency to run right off the model, which plaster has a tendency to do that, especially when you're dealing with a vertical like model or piece like this, or anything vertical for that matter. So I was just mixing small batches just because they're easier to deal with. And I've got plastic underneath the model so I don't ruin the floor. Now, bonus of using UltraCal is that it sets in 30 to 40 minutes depending on how thick it is. So you can have, a large casting done in a matter of mere hours, as opposed to using something like plastic paste. Now plastic paste is just easier to use because it's easy to mixing rates just as easy on both sides, but plastic paste bonds to the surface, as opposed to putting it on and hoping that it doesn't slide off, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. And you really don't have to worry about, if you put some plaster on the clay itself. Like right now I'm going a little high, but once it's cured it'll just pop right off the clay, so it's not an issue. And I don't like using gloves with plaster, because plaster sticks to the gloves and it just makes the job a whole lot harder. Some people may have reactions to the plaster. I've never had any, so I'm just gonna go with that, and it just makes my life easier. Now this is considerably thicker than I would normally use. Like I said before, it's just to keep it from sagging and falling off the model. If I had left it to its previous consistency, it'd be falling right off, and it'd be just frustrating as all hell to deal with. Now, and also because of this kind of piece here, you don't need to be going like an inch thick in plaster, because it's not a high detail. You're only doing a mother mold. So and what I'm going to do is one piece at a time, let that cure, pop it off, and then work with another. So once I'm done, I can just peel off the latex as one piece, and then cut out the different sections, and they'll fit right into their plaster molds. So, you know, right there, that's going to save a lot of time of trying to do these things all separately. And I'm going to have to probably mix another small batch, but that's not a big deal. Or I might be able just to salvage of what's trying to drip off. So now that I've got like 99% of the stuff on there, go with the burlap strips, and we're just going to go ahead and place them on. Now the burlap's going to help strengthen the mother mold, but at the same time it's also going to keep the plaster from sagging, and it's going to give it a lot more of a smooth finish. It's not that it's necessary, but when you're handling it, as far as doing the actual pieces, it's a lot less rough on the hands. So, you know, and pretty much anybody can do this kind of work. It's not difficult. It's just you got to plan it out first properly. Otherwise, you can rest assured that you're going to have a fun time demolding. Like, I sat down for about 5 minutes before I figured out that I have to do it in sections, because it wraps around. Plaster doesn't give. Therefore, you know, I got to do it in, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections as opposed to 1, and then trying to cut it later and so on and so forth. It's just a pain in the ass. So I'm just gonna do it in the 4 sections. Now, right now I've got most of it covered with the burlap. A layer or 2 is enough, and I'm just going to go back, mix a small batch of runnier stuff, just because it's going to help smooth out the whole cast a lot easier, and it'll absorb right into the plaster, right into the burlap. So, and it's going to just give it a nice sleek look to it. So when it comes off, it's just a, not that it needs to be pleasing to the eye, but it'll be just easier. You know, there's not going to be any rough edges, any sharp spots where, you know, where you can get either cut or scraped and so on and so forth. It's just going to help the whole piece along. So now you've got a bit of an idea. Vertical surface, thicker base coat with burlap strips. Now you can just do one layer of burlap just to hold everything in place. Go back with a second batch of slightly runnier plaster. Coat the base burlap. If you feel the need to add a second or third coat of third layers of burlap, by all means. It's just gonna, you know, make things stronger. So there's nothing wrong with that. Plus, plaster and burlap are cheap. You know, you can get 10 meters of burlap for about $10. So it's dirt cheap. You're using little strips, and you know, for a model like this, you could probably do it with 1 roll of burlap and you'd be done. So inexpensive. You know, the part that's expensive is the silicone. So there you have it.